Dude, I'll get Nitro, and then my background will be the terminal mission from Modern Warfare 2, where they're just shooting up the airport.
Oh,
Let's go.
That would be dope. It would
Yeah,
really
that'd
fit
be
the theme.
sick. Yeah. Anyways, welcome back everyone to the F1 cast. Week 4 now. Yeah. And we just had an incredible Grand Prix, Silverstone. I'd say easily the best race I've watched.
True.
So much excitement,
Facts.
so much going on. I think we might as well just get right into it. You know, there's a lot to talk about, starting with maybe qualifying. Anything before that?
Well, I guess qualifying, right?
Yeah. Maybe predictions first. Oh, actually, that actually kind of ties into our race. So we'll start with qualifying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, shit. Yeah, let me. Okay. Yeah, I guess qualifying. I mean, first thing of note, it was raining. You know, you got those dynamic conditions. You know what they say? Anything can happen in the rain, as we saw with Latifi. God, what an animal out there.
Dude, it was all part of the plan. He committed a blood sacrifice the race before to guarantee the Q3 this weekend. Insanity.
Yeah, it takes sacrifice to make it up there in the top 10, and we saw that he did it.
Mhm.
He managed to pull through in the wet. He made it all the way to Q3, first time ever, I believe, right?
Yeah. First time.
He
Right?
did it last year in Belgium when it was raining.
Oh, really? Okay,
But,
damn. So
he's a rain
monster in
god.
the rain, yeah.
Him and Alonso.
Yeah, kings of the rain. But that was incredible to see. I think also because that people were talking about the upgrades Williams got and how it's just on Albon's car. So I guess I remember last week I was talking about like, yeah, they don't really probably have favorites at those teams, you know, because they're so down there. Like they're not getting points, but they just put upgrades on only one. So I was probably wrong, but yeah, I guess the upgrades didn't help. Latifi went crazy, and yeah, that was fun to see.
Yeah, the funny thing was Seattle and I were messaging during qualifying, and I was like, dude, or we were both discussing how we were like a bit excited to see if the Williams could do anything. And then, the Williams with the upgrades got outperformed by the old shitty Williams, so I guess it's just what happens sometimes.
Yeah, it is that does suck for. I mean, they were referring to it as like their big upgrades for like at least for the time being. So that's gotta kind of hurt to see, but you know that was still fun. I'm trying to think of anything else from the midfield that really surprised me. Trying to think.
Big upgrades for Mercedes this week. Very decent in qualifying and practice. According to George Russell and I think Hamilton, there was not a lot of porpoising. So
So your mic's popping a little bit.
Ah, fuck.
When you're talking. I thought a good performance from Zhou Guanyu in qualifying, getting 9th in Q3. Thought that was good little performance.
I guess that completely got wiped from my memory, like come race time. But I mean,
yeah, because I guess we should just hop right into the race. There isn't much to talk about with qualifying. I feel like.
Oh, we talk other about than
I guess Verstappen. Verstappen got that he did have the sick recovery, and then he also did get fucked in Q3. He was like going crazy, Q1, Q2, and then Q3 got the yellow flag, stuck behind Leclerc, couldn't get a good last lap in, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he did pull a quick little 360. That was sick to see. He's kind of silent out there on the track. That was the most insane recovery I've seen. He just, you think a lot of other drivers, they probably lose it there. They're into the gravel or whatever. They're into the wall, but he just did a complete little circle, and it's like he was right back to it.
Yeah,
right.
So that was sick.
Signs with pole position.
That was also crazy, right? Because this is his first and only pole, right? Thus far.
Yeah.
So that was crazy in the rain, seeing him come out on top, especially since his team radio after, he was very surprised. He was like, wait, what? Like, that was good enough for pole? He was like, oh, I didn't think that was going to be, that sort of time. So It just goes to show in the rain, I feel like everyone's confidence is low, because it's just you're losing time everywhere. It's probably hard to be like, yeah, this lap this is where it's at. This is pole position.
Yeah, except for Verstappen sure. There. Verstappen just does not give a fuck.
Yeah, no. It really just seems like it's like you're walking on like a little tightrope and you don't want to push too hard or you're gonna fuck up.
Right.
But yeah, it was crazy to see. I mean, it's really a balancing act, I guess, to see just how far you can push it without kind of going off the racing line or just kind of pushing too hard and having your car spin out of control.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that was great for Sainz. Was real happy to see that. And going into race day, I mean, yeah, no, it was a good qualifying and race too. I kind of forgot a little bit about the qualifying because of the race day, but there was just
Right.
a lot this weekend, just so much.
And it
Right.
literally the floodgates of hell just opened up as soon as the race started. Like we didn't
Right.
Yeah.
we didn't even have a second to kind of ease into the race because what was it on like turn 1, turn 2, we have 5 people instantly crashing.
Right.
Yeah, it was insane how like race started. It goes to like the second camera angle that's around like the first corner.
Yeah.
Immediately, race is already like red flagged or whatever. There's like you see that George Russell, I thought was the one that had the worst crash, right? Because they were kind of talking or they were showing
Right.
him mostly, and it looked like that. So I'm like, shit, I wonder if he's all right because they made it sound bad. And then they showed Zhou Guanyu's crash. It's like, damn, that guy was crashing for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Dude,
It
that
was
shit was insane.
And like it was insane because it also, I don't know, it just didn't look that like severe of a hit. Like he kind of got sideswiped, right? And then
Yeah.
like he somehow flipped, and then he just kept rolling, and then he hit like the
Slid
first
and
initial
then
wall,
yup.
and then
And then
he flipped
kept
over
going.
that. Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
kept going. He went over that wall, and then the crazy thing was during like the long ass break. How long was the break? Like 20 minutes.
No,
20,
it was
30
more
minutes
than
for
that.
sure.
It was like
It
30
was for
minutes
sure
at
more than
least,
20
yeah.
though.
It was a long time. But anyways, then they're like saying admits that like some fucking activists were like out there on the track and the police
Yeah.
had to remove them. And basically like it was like, yeah, they could have been hit, but luckily there was not luckily, but there was a massive crash, so there was no cars actually moving when they tried to do their big jump out on track sort of thing, whatever the fuck. And that's, yeah, no, it was crazy. It was at the same time. It was like a massive like 5-car wreck, and then also activists like getting out on track, and it was just like, damn, that. And then they gave you a whole 30 minutes.
The crazy thing was I was seeing videos of like the marshals literally dragging protesters off of the track right at the beginning of the race. That's I always respect a little variation. I like
Uh-huh.
crazy shit happening in F1 and protesters running out in front of vehicles. I think that could add some levels to the game.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to crash into the pedestrians, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Definitely
okay,
not.
I guess.
I remember me, Wesley, and our friend Alex were watching, and we were just like, "Oh, Verstappen with a great start," and then it just cuts into that turn 2 area, and we just saw chaos. We're like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah. We saw Verstappen overtake Sainz in the first corner, and then immediately it just looked like a bomb went off in the back because there was just a cloud of smoke, and then you can just see an upside down Alfa Romeo just kind of scoot by in the background, and
Yeah,
I don't know. And
it
then
was.
the director, who does the camera angles for F1, made us wait like 30 minutes before showing us a replay of what happened. It was the dumbest shit ever.
Oh
So
yeah, we had
whoever that
to.
guy is should be immediately fired.
Me and Wesley I was going through all the helmet cams to see who actually what happened, and we found it. So Gasly was pretty much the passenger to everything. So Latifi had a great start. He cut through everybody. He got himself into 8th place, and then Pierre Gasly tried to crawl his way through the same hole. And George Russell veered left, hit Pierre Gasly's front right tire, and then George Russell hits him, and he went straight into Zhou Guanyu.
For 2022, about to get underway, the engine don't rise, the lights go out, it is blast off, and a good start made by Carlos Sainz, but an even better one by Max Verstappen on the inside line to gravel racing.
Back to
Okay.
where we're at.
Back
Shit.
to race start, I guess, right?
Where should we cut back to?
I guess
we at?
protesters,
Protesters, yeah.
Joe's crash. I feel like we got to show Joe's crash. Well, I mean, everyone's seen it, but it's just,
Yeah, I mean,
it
Joe will
was so
probably
insane.
splice it in before we talk about it or
Oh, I'll
something.
definitely spice that in.
I remember thinking when I saw Joe's crash, like I was like, if this was like something that happened in like the F1 2021 22 game, one of those, like I feel like people would say like, this is unrealistic. Like this like wouldn't happen. Like this,
Yeah.
like this is just like bullshit, like gaming stuff. But
Yeah, it literally looked like Gasly like barely tapped Russell, and then Russell just goes straight into Guanyu, and I don't even understand how he flipped that fast.
Yeah, and then we
But-
see again that the halo is kind of a must because he would have been obliterated if he didn't have the halo on top of the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah,
So
no.
now I guess we can add him to the driver tally. I know people talked about Leclerc before. Another car like went on top of his and he would have died without it. So Leclerc would no longer be with us and Zhou Guanyu.
Same thing with Hamilton and Verstappen, right? Didn't
Verstappen,
Verstappen
yeah,
do the
that would
same thing?
also be
That's right.
So that would be 4 drivers gone. So that would be 4 open seats in F1
And
without.
I'm not against that. Let's just make that clear.
Yeah, maybe we want a bigger halo. I don't. I
Oh,
think
God.
it's given us some help, to say the least. It's really saved a lot of people. But
So
yeah.
so I guess we covered the insanity that was the first lap.
Yeah. And then there
A
was
bit
the silence
disappointing.
after
I
that.
thought it was kind of stupid that they made everyone reset their positions. I wanted Latifi to stay in 8th.
Right.
I was kind of upset.
Why did they do like a full restart? Did they give like a reasoning for it? Because I don't really
So-
remember him saying.
Apparently, it's in the rules that since all the cars didn't pass the safety car line, that they have to restart to what the previous grid was or the original grid was, since all cars didn't pass that line.
Okay, I feel like in that time, like Ferrari, it's either the drivers or the team got their shit together because like they both had bad starts, and then on the restart they were like good. So that was kind of like, yeah, I guess it kind of sucks, especially if you're Red Bull, because like they each stole a spot and then they went back and then they didn't get
Yeah.
those the second time. That must have sucked to see. Same with Latifi, insane start, reaction time of a fucking god, gets
Mhm.
off that line real quick.
Yep.
And then he loses that. And then, yeah, so I guess that does suck, but I mean, I have no clue how that. I just kind of remember seeing it. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it is what it is. But yeah. So that was good to see. And then also Albon, I guess his whole weekend sucked. The more I think about it, 'cause he also got tapped by Gasly, right? Or who was behind him? Somebody tapped
No,
him
it
from
wasn't.
behind.
It wasn't
It
Gasly.
wasn't Gasly. If I forgot who it was.
Yeah, somebody
Um,
tapped him, and like he had no way at all to deal with that because I think he was slowing down because of the crash happening
Yeah.
next to him, and then like somebody behind just smashed into him and
Yeah.
ended his race.
Yeah, literally just smashed him into the wall
So
instantly.
I guess we're gonna need another race to find out how those upgrades be working.
And
Yes.
the restart, the second restart technically, Sainz had a great start, but then like
Oh, yeah.
Max was also like starting to creep up into like that first place, and then Sainz like almost put Verstappen into the wall in that start. I was like, oh shit.
The crazy thing
Yeah.
I saw on the restart is I feel like Leclerc, that's the most aggressive I've seen him. Like he was getting kind of pushed out by Perez. I think what happened was Perez was going into a corner and Leclerc kind of got pushed out, and then he just like went into Perez's car. Like he just like smacked him
Right.
and then
Mhm.
destroyed both like the fronts of their cars. Wait, no, I think Perez's
That
did
was
he
like-
also
that
lose
was-
part of his front wing.
Yeah. But what
Yeah.
do you call this? That was a crazy thing because I was in like turn 4 or turn 5, and it was just like you had like 2 Red Bulls and 2 Ferraris just going at each other. It was just like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, so the aggressive driving from Leclerc, I think he might have, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't look like this from the results, but he almost like double KO'd Red Bull because I think, right, he hit Perez, right, broke part of his front wing off, right? So Perez also, I think his tire got fucked, so he had to pit and was in last, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
swear Verstappen later, right? So he said it was a piece of like carbon
Debris,
fiber
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that
it was a
fucked him up.
debris.
I feel like that would have been from that crash, right?
hmm
So
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
think
it
the-
fucked up
Leclerc-
the floor, dude. It fucked up the floor real good.
So he had like no downforce. So I'm pretty sure Leclerc like double killed the Red Bull cars. Like,
that's-
with that one thing.
And that's
a
what
crazy
you have to
move.
love. And that was good for our predictions because
It
we
was.
had Leclerc coming out on top. So
Oh man.
I think
Fuck, man.
you know
I had the Ferrari 1-2. They fucked up the pit stop, man. Fuck.
we'll get
Ferraris
into
and pit
we can get
stops.
into Ferrari and their how shitty of a team they are.
Well,
I wanted to
actually,
discuss how right I was with Lewis Hamilton powering up this weekend.
he did. He did
He
get a
did.
huge power up.
Mhm.
I don't know what was in that car, but I mean they also have been saying like, oh yeah, street tracks just aren't our thing, but like racetracks we will do better, and I think that showed this weekend.
Yeah.
So that was sick to see. And yeah, Hamilton just had insane pace. Like
Yeah.
he for the first half of the race, he was the fastest out there until his
Mhm.
tires got kind of worn down. Leclerc got a new
Right.
set. He was just the fastest on the track. which is kind of tiny. I thought it was funny with the Ferraris because Sainz was slower than Leclerc when Leclerc had part of his front wing missing. And like Leclerc was just complaining on the team, like, let me pass. And Sainz was like, no, like they just kept saying, like, Sainz push. And he's like, oh, I'm trying. And like it was just, you could see slowly Hamilton creeping up. And
Yeah.
they were kind of starting to freak out on the comms a bit. It was pretty funny to see. And like Ferrari looked like they were just lost, like they didn't know what to do with them. It was a real show, a real good time
It
to
was,
see that.
and that was like I feel like that was a real common occur. I don't know, because I haven't really paid too much attention. I guess because in the races leading up to this, it's either Ferrari, their car blows up, or
Yeah.
um, so we don't really get to see too much of Ferrari and their team leadership in action. But this race, I feel like it really showcased how inept the people who are making the plans and trying to guide the drivers for Ferrari are, because
Yeah.
they were scared to take action, and what they were, because they were scared to do anything, they were literally allowing Lewis Hamilton to creep up like the Grim Reaper on them, and like
I think what this really brings in is it's kind of like a question I see a lot in the community. I see people like on both sides, is it's like, do you let them race or do you give team orders? And I feel like team orders is kind of like that kind of wins you championships.
yeah,
But it's also like some people like to see him race. But then when you let him race, right? If it's like if the other teams are still competitive, there is a chance that they capitalize pretty hard because you're wearing your tires more. You're slowing yourself
Right.
down by racing it out. No, it's kind of tough. I don't know where you guys stand on that, but as a Leclerc fan, I was like, bro, just get Sainz out of the way. Like, just get him out of there. Get Leclerc in the front. That man's got pace. But
yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's tough to call. But I think it's also sort of a hindsight thing. Like, let's say Hamilton ended up winning because of that, people would have been trashing Ferrari, I think, for like letting him race. I think it's also kind of results oriented. But I think, I don't know. It was fun to watch, that's for sure.
Wasn't it in Science comms, or I think it was either Science's comms that they were like, yeah, we'll let you guys race each other, and then I think at one point I think it was that point where Hamilton was catching up, and I think they were like, okay, we'll let Leclerc through, and then I forgot what it was. I forgot the sequence of actions, but I think it was like, okay, we'll race each other, and then the comms went to, okay, what happened to racing each other? We'll let somebody through. Like, I don't remember.
So the way it went was basically they kept saying push to Sainz, and then they like gave him a time to beat, and if he couldn't beat it, they were gonna swap him, and then he didn't beat it, so then they swapped him. But then it didn't really change much because their tires were getting old, and also Leclerc's like part of his wing was missing, and like Hamilton I think was still faster. But then they went through and then they like pitted and then it ended up working out because they had more pace on the new tires. Like Hamilton, for some reason, there just wasn't. I think because they swapped
the hard tires were ass. Yeah.
The hard
for
tires Mercedes,
they
were ass. I think they were doing a lot better for Ferrari with them. Yeah, but yeah. So where do you guys stand on if you're in that situation? Do you think it's better you just whoever's faster, just you give a team call and then they're ahead, or do you like the idea of drivers racing?
Well, I think if you're in the position of a team like Red Bull so far in this season, where you guys are kind of dominating, winning like every other race, every race, I feel like it's fine to kind of do the call where, all right, let's get a little, add some fire to add some fuel to the fire, do a little racing. But when you're Ferrari and it's like, next week your cars probably aren't going to work. You guys are in a great position. Let's do some fucking team play and just try and lock up this win when we can get it. And it's at Silverstone. Let's like a stick win to try and lock up. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It just seemed like I saw something that like the previous coordinator for Ferrari left like this year. And it just seems like they don't have a very strong voice on the team where it was like in action, like I said, Hamilton was just coming up on them and they seemed like they were fighting. It like Steins didn't want to give up his spot even though he wasn't making the pace at all. And it
Yeah.
just seemed like they needed kind of a strong team voice. And in that situation, it's like inaction is just worse than any action. And that's what it seemed like they were doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like the idea of it's like if you want to win a championship and maybe you're behind a bit, like I feel like team calls is gonna get you there, or like it's gonna be very important. Or
Yeah.
like instead of letting them like butt heads. But I do see that like if it's like if you're wildly ahead, like I thought immediately of like one of those classic YouTube videos. It's like top 10 controversial moments. It was like one time they let Schumacher win when like he was so far ahead of everyone. It was like insane, and they still told the number 2 driver to let him through, and everyone like booed him. It was it was pretty funny to see. But yeah, I think in those situations, right, let him race. But like, I think if you're behind, you gotta just kind of you gotta make calls. I think. Like,
Yeah,
I
for sure.
agree.
Right. But I also
So-
think Ferrari fucked up on Leclerc's in the last 10 laps. They fucked up and not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely fucked
Well,
Leclerc.
they did like a double fuck. So first it was like, okay, they didn't remember to bring him into pit for the softs. Or I don't know what they did there. I guess they thought maybe track position would like equal out to new tires or something. I don't know why. There's no gap, you know. And he was like on old hard, so that was weird. And then on top of that, it was what was it? Then they gave Sainz. This is where I think Sainz took matters into his own hands for the best. Was when they were like, okay, make 10 cars width of like space
Oh,
for
right,
Leclerc.
right.
And it's like, and then he was like, no, he's like, I'm gonna get attacked right away. And Leclerc's like on old tires, he's gonna be slow as shit. Like, and yeah, so I think that was a crazy call to like, they basically made a mistake and then tried to have Sainz like fix it by like holding back the pack, which
Right.
was just, I think if he followed him that way, I think they both would have been passed.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I think it would have just been bad. So yeah, I think all in all though, I think what Sainz did at the end of the race, given his situation, was a great call and was like a great way to win his first race. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Leclerc was in pit because by the time they had call for the pit for Sainz, I think he was past the pit lane already, or he's down the main straight, so they couldn't pit him. That's apparently what I heard from sources.
Okay. Is that what Ferrari said? Because I get all my information from the YouTube comments, and they're the masters of hindsight. So like when I read comments, it'll be like, if I was the Ferrari like strategist, like they would be winning, and it's just like, thanks random YouTuber with like 2 likes. I agree. Like I saw one. It was like 3 paragraphs where he's like, it's unacceptable what Ferrari's doing, and they like went into it. I've also seen like the formula right now. It seems like to get likes on YouTube is you just put like Sainz is proving you have to be your own strategist on Ferrari, and like every time I see it, it's got like 1,000 like likes.
True. And I actually
And
agree with that.
That's probably that's also true. So I think that's why. But I see it on every single Ferrari video. That is always the top comment right now on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
how you get likes.
No, they're just farming. They're just trying to farm the likes, you know.
Yeah, I just saying something that everyone agrees with that they haven't gotten
Right.
tired of yet.
And then I think after the race, the team principal Matteo Bionata actually talked to Leclerc. He was like, "Don't talk about whatever we did with the pit strategy. Don't say anything to the media about that because it's bad
I've
on
seen
us and we're
the
driving
finger
Ferrari."
wag.
Right? Yeah.
It was like a bunch of videos where he's going like this at Leclerc. And then, sure, like you're incredibly fast and all this, all that, but it's like, sure, we fuck up every single race, either your engine or the strategy. It's literally a coin flip, one of the two, but it's still don't say anything about it, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a really funny picture where it was like the entire Ferrari team like taking pictures after the win, and then you can just see how pissed off Leclerc is. And I can just like imagine he's like, fuck, why am I racing for Ferrari? I should have,
Yeah.
He was probably thinking about all the other offers he had.
I think if I'm him, what I would do is try to help Hamilton get an 8th win, right? So then he leaves Mercedes. At this point, Mercedes have improved their car. They're a front runner again, and then he steals that spot.
Mhm.
I think that would be my goal if I'm Leclerc. Because, like, dude, Ferrari right now is just... I was happy for Sainz, but as a Ferrari fan overall, it's in terms of, like, getting the championship, they make it tough. They make it so tough to believe because every race, it's within like the mid-10 of the race, they just fumble the bag for the most part.
Yeah.
They're just so good at it. Like no other team is nearly as good. It's insane. And then, oh, that reminds me. I remember I was talking about last 2 weeks now. I was like, oh yeah, like you think if the number 2 driver like wins the race, they're gonna be less ecstatic. I swear they were less excited that Sainz won. I swear when you looked over at the Ferrari team, like his cousin was having a great time. Because like that's like I think his manager, right, or something.
Yeah, that's his like
And
manager.
he was
yeah.
like, "Let's go," and everyone else was like, "Oh, we won!" Like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's cool." I swear there was less energy. Like I saw another YouTube comment where the guy was like, "I think Mick Schumacher's team for him getting his first points was more hype than Sainz getting his first win from Ferrari."
True.
And
True.
I
I think
think it's
Verstappen was more hype for him than the entire team of Ferrari.
They were just like, "Oh shit!" Like that guy won.
Verstappen had a decent race. What do you call this? He obviously dropped to 7th because of the floor damage, but he I guess for him, I think it's still a good result. I mean, staying in the points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the just never give up mentality, you know? Like you just kind of stay out there even if your car's significantly slower, just trying your best. And I think those points, you know, you don't know if they're going to matter, so you should just put your best foot forward, you know?
You know,
That's always good to see.
as much as I hate, complimenting top teams, I was actually pretty impressed with Verstappen because he had those annoying ass British fans booing him all weekend.
Oh yeah.
He had, he got fucked by debris in the race. And then, and it seemed like he came out of it, at least in interviews, he wasn't salty about it. He was congratulating everyone. It seemed like a good PR weekend for Verstappen and Red Bull.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like his like kind of I don't know. He's also I feel like he's very like PMA outside the race. Like the only time you ever hear him and he seems super mad is generally like during the race. His comms are like some of the most aggressive. Where he's like his engineer will say something, he'll be like, "Are you fucking stupid?" And then like after the race though, he'll be like, "Hey, it was a pretty decent weekend overall."
Yeah, he does the Hamilton. It's like, great job, guys. We couldn't have done any better.
Yeah, that's like the top driver mentality, I guess, is you get incredibly mad during the race and just release it afterwards, which Leclerc's also usually good at. This time it seemed tough for him, and I can see why. But yeah, that was crazy.
Talk about driver of the day.
Driver of the day. I always get. I don't know. I think would be Perez. I think was like the driver of the day from his situation. I think what he did was incredible. Like having his tire, whatever it was, fucked up. Yeah, he had a hole in his tire, a puncture. Had to start basically in last and then end in second. Is an insane recovery. Like that's insane to see. I don't know. He just did such a good job with what he
kept
was
his
doing.
head down. Like the moment I saw him like near Verstappen, I was like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
But, hey.
As much as I'd want
the podium.
As much as I'd want to give it to Sainz, it was a pretty Mickey Mouse Silverstone win, I feel like. Because I feel like it wouldn't have been close at all if the Ferrari team wasn't so inept. So I feel like it's just got to go to Checo.
Yeah, I'd say it's also tough because it was like it's just tough to give it to Sainz for me because like the whole he was outpaced by Hamilton and Leclerc the whole entire race till the end on the softs.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, now I think this is where I saw I was more of like a Leclerc fan than like a Ferrari fan because like I was thinking to myself at the end of the race, Leclerc, I think it was like 2 laps, right, where he kept everyone behind him. Like he managed to kind of keep people behind for Sainz for like I'd say a pretty good amount of time with like with decently less pace. And I was thinking, like, bro, if the roles are reversed and Sainz is second, he's letting those motherfuckers by within, like, half a second. Like, I swear Sainz in the position, too, somehow, like, they just always get by him. Like, he is just defending against other teams. I was just like, I know Sainz, I'm happy for his win, but I'm like, I swear, if he's defending and it's whoever's third Hamilton, he's just slipping right by. And Sainz is like, where was that guy? Like, I was looking around, I didn't know he was there. I don't know why, but yeah. But, yeah, I'd say Perez, definitely driver of the day for me. And then I'd say second, probably Sainz, though, just because first race win and also his strategy call at the end, I think was pretty great. And probably not in, opposite of what the team was telling him, which was a terrible call. What the team wanted would have just absolutely destroyed their race day. So good on him. That's 2 times now. His strategy calls have been better than the team's. Yeah.
Those last 3 laps were really interesting, and I think we saw it. I mean, Leclerc was obviously trying to hold back as many drivers as he could to stay in P2. I think lap 49, I think what it was, him and Perez got into it in the last couple turns, and then out of nowhere, like you see Hamilton just like blew by both of them. You're just like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane because it was like a 3 car. It was weird. I think first. Who was it? It was either Perez or Hamilton. One first ran like the other 2 basically off the track, and then they like went off and they went back on behind, and then somebody else did the same exact thing, and it was just like crazy swapping positions. And then there's a couple times, I think it was twice, Hamilton passed Leclerc, but then Leclerc took like a better line or something, or like kind of like boxed him out going into the next turn. And it was probably the best like little like sequence of racing I've seen all year. In terms of like very tight, it was like, oh, somebody could. I thought it was funny. Alonso was talking about it after. He's like, yeah, I didn't really go into that. I was just hoping 2 of them would bump each other and I would have a podium. Is what he was saying. He was like, I was hoping like while Hamilton Leclerc were racing that they'd tap and I'd have a podium. And I mean, it was
5 different teams fighting for a podium there. McLaren, Alpine, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was great to see.
It was crazy to see. I mean, it was definitely the best end to a race so far this season. And then Sainz, it was just so many good storylines, like Sainz getting his first win at the same time Schumacher got his first points. I was so scared for Schumacher at the end though, because he was racing pretty hard with Verstappen. I'm like, bro, it's gonna be like
I
Vettel
loved
again.
that.
Like,
That
he's
was
gonna
sick.
crash and he's gonna not get points again when he got so close. But like I like that drive. You know, they're always pushing it even at the end, like not just settling for the points, trying to get more.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really sick to see. I guess maybe I feel like we should touch on some of the disappointments of the day, maybe a little bit. Like, what for you guys were you thinking where you were like, damn, like this team or driver just really let me down?
You know, I've shit on Daniel Ricciardo so much. I feel like I've spent a good amount of time shitting on Daniel Ricciardo, but this is another great weekend to just shit on Daniel Ricciardo, and I'm gonna take advantage of it. You know, in the lead up to the race, I don't know if you saw it, but Daniel Ricciardo like threw a ball like right into the face of Lando Norris. Did you see that? So I think, you know, there might have been some bad blood there, I think. I think he might have tried to give him a little concussion before race day, try and, you know, get himself out there, get ahead of his teammate, make himself look good. Um, but you know, it clearly didn't work because let's see what I think was it. Ricardo got 13th, and there was like 7 people who DNF. So and it, you know, compared to his teammate who got 6th. So you know, I'm not saying. Oh, actually, no, I've said it, and I'll say it again. Daniel Ricciardo is washed. He's a bum. And he should be an F2.
Yeah, but I feel bad because my cousin always brings up he's like a Ricardo fan, which I get it. You know, he's great. He's a nice guy. He's nice to listen to. But like, and he I feel like he's holding out faith. And
Yeah.
he was talking about now how he's like, yeah, Ricardo's gonna get into acting, and I mean, he should get his act together in F1 before he, you know, gets into
Yeah.
that. You know.
Yeah,
I
he should
mean,
start acting like working on how to act in the car, drive a little bit faster.
I want to. The thing is, right, is like I feel like now though the payoff is gonna be great because everyone likes him, right? I feel like the payoff's gonna be great if he turns it around, but I think it's just looking more and more dire with each race. Like it's just, I feel like it's not like it's getting better, like it's just getting worse. So it's tough. It's so tough. And I don't understand like where's the racecraft go there? Like what's happening? Like does anyone have any sort of ideas or theories?
Yeah.
I just think the car is just not suited for him. I think more suited towards Lando Norris because his driving style is more on the late braking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just I want to see him do well. I like seeing more people, you know, doing well, putting up good results. But I think I want to say I want to look at the results real quick. But I feel like it's the biggest gap between 2 drivers on a team at the moment. Okay,
Yeah.
so 7th to 14th, so it's a 7-place difference. Actually, it's pretty similar. It's 1 place less than Bottas in Zhou, but I think it's the second biggest gap between teammates. And that's rough because like it's also the dynamic is so much different on the Alfa Romeo team, right? Because one of them's a completely new F1 driver, and the other one has been on like Mercedes for many years and was a top tier driver. So it's like it just shouldn't be that big of a difference. But I mean, and maybe next week, you know, as they always say, next week, as every driver always says after a bad weekend, next week is they're gonna try harder, you know. So we'll just stick with that.
Yeah. I'd love to see Ricardo bring it back, but it just seems like either he's out of it or, you know, this McLaren car just really isn't working for him.
Right.
Yeah. I'd say probably a mix of the two.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also the longer it doesn't work for you, the less confidence you have that it ever will, you know? So it kind of just slips with time. You're just thinking, oh, it's easy to probably get in a mental sort of bad state with the car too.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
speaking about another team that I think is doing pretty poor recently would be AlphaTauri, right? Because they did pretty decent last year. Yeah, we talked about that last week, and it's kind of continued that. Where that's also crazy. They both were caught up in the initial crash, right? So then they had bad positioning to start, and then later you saw they bumped into each other and they knocked each other off track like they were bumper cars.
Yeah, and I think so sad to see that.
Yeah, I think Gasly probably was more pissed, right? Because I think it was Tsunoda. They gave the penalty like it was him at fault.
Yeah.
So they gave him a time penalty.
Yeah.
So that's gotta suck when your own teammate is the one knocking you off track.
Right, and there was like no need to fight there. I mean, you're not fighting for any points in that position you guys are in, and it's might as well just.
I mean, it's tough to watch that, yeah. But I feel like they also I don't know what they need to. I just feel like it's been a mix of like they're always somehow the two drivers that are in like accidents, and then on top of that, they also I think have a decent amount of like troubles with like their engine and stuff, or like
Yeah.
performance and staying, their car staying moving. That seems to be the big issue for the most part, is like being like somehow like they're magnets for getting hit by other cars or hitting them. I'm not sure. So yeah, it's just rough. It's rough.
Should we go into a little bit of our predictions and what happened there? Because my prediction for the first person who's gonna cause the crash was Carlos Sainz, and he didn't go into the gravel. So.
Oh, I forgot that we had last week we did the prediction of who's gonna be the first to crash out, and it would have been easy. We had like a 1 out of 4 chance to hit the right person here.
Did we all miss? Who did we all say?
I said Carlos Sainz. Did you say Yuki Tsunoda, Dylan? I don't remember.
I think it's definitely possible because I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think, dude. My memory.
Yeah,
I can barely remember the race that happened yesterday. This was like a whole week ago.
Wesley, I
feel
think
like
you might have did Daniel Ricciardo.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I
you did
continued with
Daniel.
my thing of shitting on Daniel Ricciardo, and I unfortunately missed. So
I mean, yeah,
he was too far in the back to get hit by the crash.
That is true, actually. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I want to say I did say Yuki, but dude, this is the easiest race yet to guess somebody that was going to be a hit right away. I mean, especially actually, you could have even maybe included. Well, no, I guess it wasn't a crash out, but Leclerc did crash into Perez, or there was some sort of, I guess you could call it a racing incident, because they didn't really blame anyone. But there was a little minor tap there. So yeah, there was so many, like, it was just so insane at the start. I feel like that's gonna get my expectations so high now for the start of races. Well, maybe not high, maybe low actually is a better phrase, because it delayed the race by like 40 minutes, and somebody had the most severe crash ever. So.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, for the most part, our predictions for the whole race, I think it was pretty decent. I think, our predictions for this week in Silverstone was great.
It was almost 2 big weeks back to back for Lance Stroll. He came in 11th, so he almost had points one more time.
So close. Damn, if he got those back to back 11ths, that could have been big for his confidence.
Unfortunate weekend for Esteban Ocon. His fuel pump going out during the race.
Right, and I think he was in 8th too, Wesley. I think he was up there.
Yeah, him and Alonso were both doing well, but Esteban Ocon came in clutch because he just left his car in the middle of the road and hooked it up with that late safety car. Got everyone bunched up right at the end.
Yeah, that was also probably rough, because I think at that was the point in my head where I'm like, if nothing else, like bar incidents, like Ferrari's gonna kind of run away with this one, because there was no more pitting left for them. They were on the hards, and they actually had better like time, I think, than Hamilton, who was the closest. So I was like, okay, nothing happens. Ferrari, they're gonna tap it in. And then it cuts to Ocon in his car slowly going to not moving, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess anything can happen again. So that's cool. That's always exciting. When I mean, it did lead to some of the best racing, so it was worth it.
Yeah, no, it definitely was.
Not for Ocon.
It just goes to show why Alpine's the best team in F1 right now. So.
They're getting better. I love this picture. Is this like right after the race?
Yeah. You can just look at how happy Leclerc is to be a part of the F1 or the Ferrari F1 team. You'll just throw it on screen so everyone can see, but you can just see Leclerc's got the 1,000-yard stare, where he just wishes he was anywhere else than where he is right now.
I think he's like looking at another team's garage right here. He's probably like looking over at like another team.
Dude, he might be looking at the Williams garage for all we know. It's like, get me the fuck out of here.
Anywhere but here, please. Oh man,
This, maybe Valtteri Bottas is naked over there. He's just giving giving a little glance, looking at his ass.
yeah, walking around with his pants down. That's good. That's what you want. But
Hey, an unfortunate turn of events for George Russell finally not finishing a race.
Yeah, that's
in
disappointing.
the top five.
Yeah, so I think that leaves who hasn't who are the only that leaves only 2 drivers that haven't DNF so far.
I think
right?
Hamilton. I think Hamilton's the only one, and somebody else.
I don't know who would be the other one.
Research.
Who is it? I just want to know. I'm pretty sure Hamilton still is has finished all races. So, wonder who could it be?
Man, I need a graphic. I wish there was a graphic this week that just like put an X through Russell's face when he crashed and then showed the other 2. 'Cause I think it is Hamilton, but maybe the other person didn't. Who could it be? I can't. Okay, let me look through this. No, I have no clue because it's not a top 2 team.
I'm trying to. It's definitely not the Ferraris or the Red Bulls because
their engines barely function. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this one out.
So, is there anything else we want to talk about with Silverstone?
got covered for the most part.
Any other storyline? I mean, there is just so much, but I feel like that might have been every storyline I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
At least the major ones.
We talked about all the DNFs. We talked about top 3. I guess it was disappointing for Latifi finishing in 12th. I felt like this was like such a good opportunity for Williams to try and get in the points.
Oh yeah, that was rough for him because did he just? I'm guessing he just lost pace later or something. Cause
yeah, he finished in 12th. What was he, 10th? He was 10th coming out of
10th.
Yeah.
He went from 8th and then he dropped down to 9th and then went down.
Yeah, that's rough for him. I mean, I feel like he's also someone, maybe not on the same boat as Ricardo because he's never had success yet. But you just you want to see someone who's only done bad like do well for a bit.
Yeah.
It feels good to see someone just pull it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because I feel like if you're another driver on the road, that might make you a little upset because you're like Latifi has always been behind me every race, and now like having to sit behind him for a change, I feel like that might get to some drivers maybe a little bit mentally. I could see.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, it's like a mental roadblock. Yeah,
I think it got into Alex Albon's head during Q1.
I heard he was pretty mad when he was out.
Yeah,
like in the rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess because it's this type of thing because Albon has out-qualified Latifi every time so far except for this week, or like almost every time, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's one of those things like when you think in your head, you think of yourself as better than someone else, and then they pull something out ahead of you, then it tends to probably make you pretty upset, So,
Not to mention that he's also in the old spec Williams car, so...
Yeah, so like he's getting the preferential treatment and then he's getting outraced.
I think maybe the one thing though is that maybe it doesn't really get to him because it's like fuck it, this is the first weekend or this is the first race with the new car. We didn't really get too much time into it, so
That's true.
He really gives a shit.
And it was in the rain, so I feel like how your car is like I don't know, like your car's performance doesn't matter as much. So like it was probably more down to just not going into the wet area, into the moist track.
Yeah.
And slipping. So, yeah. Let's see here.
So
Should we get into some next race in Austria?
The Austrian GP.
Oh wow.
Let's pull up the track real quick. Let's see what it looks like. Here we go. All right, here I'm sending what the track looks like right now to the chat. This looks like a Verstappen win.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Wait, is this a street track or like just a regular good old racing track?
It's a good racing track.
Yeah, it looks like a racetrack. I'm looking at the sky view of it right now.
I realized this weekend I feel like I've enjoyed watching most of the actual racetracks more than the street tracks, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of Formula One fans also say that, but that's just because it's one of those things that's true, you know?
I don't. Well, what do you? I thought Baku was pretty good, and same with Monaco as
Yeah.
well.
There's been some, but I feel like it's also like so far. I think we've had more street tracks by a pretty good margin, right? Has it been like 2/3 of the races have been street tracks?
Yeah,
so far?
it's been Abu Dhabi, or Jeddah, I'd say Jeddah, Canada, Monaco, Baku. For the most part, yeah.
I was just thinking about Las Vegas next year. I'm thinking we all go there. We do the pod during the race. We
That
get
would
a
be
hotel
crazy.
room
Ooh.
overlooking.
You know how
just
we
record
get
it live.
the way we really get people to care about the pod is we storm the field during qualies, and we're potting the whole time while we do it.
We have mics out there and we have a
Yeah.
cameraman running around with us and we're just dodging cars and
Yeah.
we're wearing Formula One cast merch while we're
Mhm.
doing it. Oh, that's good. That's free publicity.
Let's
Well, it would be
go.
jail time, but
It definitely would be jail time and a lifetime ban from Formula One events in the future. But to any publicity is good publicity, and you also have to take risks to get big wins.
yeah,
True,
you got
true,
that
true.
is true. But we saw that with Signs this
Mhm.
weekend. So I mean, he's really setting a precedent.
And
for
I
us
think
to
if
be
we
doing
ask
good
Signs,
things.
he would actually encourage our behavior.
Totally. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Dude, I'm so happy. It's just this weekend already. I love back-to-back race weekends.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when they're not back-to-back, I kind of forget about F1 for a week, and like I forget that it's happening until it comes back, you know. But when it's like consistent content, you know, getting fed to me, it just kind of keeps me very motivated to keep watching and keep
I
caring.
just need it to be at like not an awful time,
Yeah.
which
I-
kind of worries me about it being in Austria because I feel like it definitely could be bad. Actually, it says okay, okay, never mind, it's not too bad. I'm looking at it right now.
So last year in this race, they had this race twice in Max Verstappen obviously winning both of them 2 weekends in a row. And I think both races, I think in turn one there was an incident into turn one in like lap one. So what do you guys thinking? Should we start with a prediction who crashes out first, or should we
I
go
love the
into our
crash
top
out
10
prediction.
prediction?
I
Yeah.
love the crash out prediction, and I think this time I have to just make a serious mental note. Okay, so let me think. Okay, so this time it was I guess you could say Zhou or Russell or like Pierre Gasly. There's a lot of people you could have said.
Right.
I'm thinking it's gonna be none of them because they're all gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be tough because everyone's gonna be super on edge about. No one wants to be the Zhou of this race. Nobody wants to get absolutely.
Right.
Well, yeah,
decimated
no
in
one wants
front.
to like almost die
Yeah.
in
Some
lap
say
one.
Joe's still crashing to this day. He's still sliding. He's still sliding further and further. So nobody wants to be that. I think also maybe we keep a counter of worst crash of the season. I think the one before this would have been, it would have been Schumacher's, right? The second race of the season because he had to go to the hospital and like didn't get to race.
Yeah, it was in qualifying. It wasn't even like nobody's fault. He kind of just lost.
Yeah,
it.
no, he lost in like a corner or something, but it was like the highest speed crash, and since it was a street circuit, there was like no runoff.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
Well, I guess technically the worst crash would be the groundhog literally getting decimated.
I guess for
Because-
that groundhog, it lost its life, so that would be the worst from that groundhog's perspective. For
Yeah,
Latifi, though, just
definitely.
another bump over his victory road to success. So
I think Latifi didn't catch a body this weekend. I think he's going out first.
Hey,
man.
it's never a bad idea to go with Latifi.
no,
As
you
much
know
as
what?
I'd want, I can't shit on Daniel Ricciardo 3 weeks in a row. I think
What's-
my other prediction, Daniel Ricciardo top 4.
Oh, that's a pretty bold prediction. Oh
That's
shit!
seeing someone on that downward trend and just thinking they flipped the switch.
He's flipping the switch this weekend.
I'm gonna say, honestly, I'm gonna
Imagine.
say Daniel Ricciardo is gonna crash out first.
Wow.
No, I feel like he's good. I think the thing is he's slow, but he's good at like not getting into crashes, right? Like I feel like for the most part he's pretty good at staying on track, but it's just while he's on track he's not doing much.
Right.
That makes sense.
Oh, I don't know who to put. You know what? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna put it in chat this time so I can just
Oh,
look
wait.
back up next week. Crashes first. Oh, this is just so tough. It's because it could just.
You know
it could
what?
be
Actually, I'm gonna
almost
change.
anyone.
I'm gonna change mine to Pierre Gasly.
There we go. Make sure you write out. Everyone has to have one bold prediction as well.
Okay, so I'm
Something
gonna put
bold.
crashes first. I think Stroll's been getting too close to the sun. I'm gonna say it. He's almost gone back-to-back 10th places. That's too good for him this season. So I
You know
say
what? My
Stroll crashes.
bold prediction. My bold prediction is gonna be Hamilton's gonna take P1.
Really?
Out of qualies?
Not in quali. Oh, I'm gonna say he's gonna win the race.
Okay. I don't know. My issue is that there hasn't been any big controversies for Hamilton to put himself in front of. So last week he really drained he took energy from all the outrage from Roe v. Wade and got the top 3. And I think this week he's kind of powered down a bit.
Yeah, he peaks when there's a lot of controversy going on. That's his power up, and there's none right now. I'm trying to think. What I was gonna go with was a very lukewarm prediction, so I think I have to change it. Okay. Okay, here's gonna be mine. Wait, dude, the problem is I'm kind of a pussy, and I just keep wanting to go with something that's like.
Do something
barely...
not bold. Who cares? Just
okay.
We just need something out there that isn't like Verstappen will win the race.
Right.
Okay.
Red Bull will be top 2.
I'll say Albon gets
Albon?
6th. I mean, in reality, I'd say 10th is probably more realistic, but making it bold, I'm gonna say that those upgrades come in, and they come in hard next week.
That would be crazy.
I'd love
to see Williams start going out there and doing stuff.
To be a team that isn't like bottom barrel.
Right.
Return to the old days. But okay, now are we gonna do top 10? Are we gonna do like our 1st through 10th?
Right. Usual top 10.
Okay. Because this is gonna be very cookie cut. I think this track, like I'm seeing Red Bull. Like when I close my eyes, I'm just seeing Verstappen first.
I mean, it does say the Red Bull Ring as the track, so
yeah. I'm thinking. Okay. Here we go.
You know what? I'm riding out for all my teams this weekend. We're doing this. We're doing.
It's so hard to do predictions because it's always like 1 or 2 of the people from the top 3 teams have some sort of like problem.
Right.
So and most of the time it's Ferrari as well.
Most of the time Ferrari, but also a little bit Red Bull, and I guess Mercedes have been very consistent up until this race. I'm gonna say okay. No, we'll do this. One of these things does not look like the others.
These are my predictions.
Boom.
Okay, let me think.
Ooh, I kind of like.
Pretty sure I also butchered Ricardo, but it doesn't really matter. You know what, Dylan? You have to ask your cousin for me. Let him know what he foresees for Ricardo this weekend.
I'll have to see what he thinks is coming. All right, I've almost got my list. Let's see, 10th though. 10th. It's just this season is just so many drivers. There's so much variation.
Yeah.
And with my bold prediction, okay, no, this is good. This is gonna be the top 10. I put mine in a. Wait, how?
I'm glad you put yours in a horizontal list.
No, horizontal lists haven't been tested yet. This might be what you need to succeed with predictions.
All right.
Okay, let's see.
Cracker.
I gotta.
Who wants to start?
I guess I'll go first since I put my list first. So I think we'll have the classic Verstappen first. Leclerc, I think he's coming in enraged. He'll snipe a second. Big weekend for Alpine. Alonso coming in third. Daniel Ricciardo crushes it, gets fourth.
Woo.
Carlos Sainz in fifth. Hamilton, Russell, Esteban Ocon, Tsunoda, Guanyu. That's the top 10.
I think it's a
Interesting.
that's a very good top 10. I like that.
I don't see Perez in there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's crashing out.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about Perez.
No, he crashes out. He crashes out.
He crashes out.
He doesn't make it.
Red
I
Bulls,
see that.
Red Bulls and Ferraris are inconsistent. This is the weekend Perez,
Yeah, I feel like one of them every race. It's his turn now. He's been doing good for too long. Okay, mine is Verstappen first, Perez second, Leclerc third. I'm seeing a Red Bull sweep. Hamilton fourth, Sainz fifth, Albon. Those upgrades, like I said, huge. Sixth, Russell seventh, Alonso eighth, Ocon ninth. I'm kind of on the Alpine, train now, and then 10th Bottas because I
No
think it's
Norris in there, huh?
Oh yeah, he's I mean, it's possible, but I'm seeing this is my vision.
I like it. I went obviously bold prediction. Hamilton P1, Verstappen in second, Perez in third, Leclerc in fourth, Sainz in fifth, Russell in sixth, Alonso in seventh, Norris in eighth, Vettel in nine, and Schumacher in 10.
Okay, that's a good list. That's good.
The 10th, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
No, Schumacher. I'm thinking he's starting to get points now. He's just heating up. He's just starting his victory.
This is the turnaround to his career.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's only his second season. I mean, things aren't going too shabby for him.
That's true. That is.
Does anyone know what his record, his head-to-head with Magnussen is for qualifying or races? Is it pretty close?
I don't think so. I think for the most part, Schumacher's been on the other side of that versus.
Yeah, it looks to be that way. So I guess, I mean, between the three of us, I feel like someone's got to have some pretty solid.
Oh shit, guys! We have it's a sprint race. So 2 practices, 1 qualifying, and then sprint race to judge the race.
I love sprint race weekends.
Yeah.
What does sprint race mean?
So basically, you practice and then you qualify, and then from qualifying, you do how long is it compared to the actual race? Is it 10, 15 laps or something?
It's about 20 something laps.
Oh really? Okay, so then
half of what the actual race is, I think.
Ooh, that's gonna be
Cut
juicy.
down,
Yeah, it's a minimum race where you get points based on scoring near the top, a couple points, and then that decides the actual race position. So it's kind of it just gives you an extra round to kind of work around your spot. So it's qualifying isn't where you start on race day, then you do another a little mini race, and then that determines where you start actually on race day, and it gives points. So it's just more racing basically, and I think I'm kind of excited for another sprint.
Right. The only one we had was in Imola.
Yeah,
This should be fun.
it'll be good. I can't wait for it.
I think Mercedes is gonna look to bring another floor upgrade for this week, from what I'm hearing.
Oh, really? Okay. I think their porpoising didn't look that bad, right? This weekend.
Nope.
Okay. I think with that solved, they looked competitive with Hamilton out there. His pace was very good.
They have a lot of pace.
Yeah.
They might have a lot of pace here.
Things are just getting more exciting. I feel like just the more teams that are thrown into the mix, just the better it is to watch.
Right, and I think from early this season, I think me and Dylan were talking about it. I think it was a top 3 fight between Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull, but that clearly did not work out after the 3rd race of the season.
Yeah. I'm excited. More people in the mix. Get some other teams with wins. Get some get people. Just every race just being a completely mixed bag between top teams and the midfield. I feel like the midfield's already kind of like that. Anyone from position, I feel like is if Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari all have weekends as they should go, it's 1 to 6 is pretty locked in with them.
Right.
1 to 4 Ferrari and Red Bull, and then Mercedes 5 and 6. That might be changing now. They might be kind of being able to get higher spots, but then it seems I feel like below that, right? It's Mercedes and and Aston Martin are gonna be at the bottom, but everyone else, it's just like this solid chunk where it could be like any position for
Yeah.
any of them, and it's not that surprising.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wrapping it up?
I feel like this is a good spot to wrap.
Right.
Good wrapping position.
Ah,
Had some technical issues. Fuck.
There was some problems, but you know, it could have gone worse, you know?
yeah, if there's no problems, you can't appreciate the times when there's no problems.
That's true.
Right.
It can't always go smoothly.
hmm
And every week it's just getting better, you know. First there was Discord noties, those are gone now though. Huge production increase. Absolutely massive for the
Cameras
pod.
on. Cameras are on.
Cameras.
Yep.
That's big.
Now
And like
next
I-
week, in-person pod.
Whoo!
Ooh.
Let's go. I'll take a camera, set it up on a little tripod.
hmm
We'll go in front of like a racetrack or a mountain.
We go out to fuck, where's next to in Highway 37, that racetrack.
Sonoma Highway or Sonoma Raceway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go there. I mean, we should go like during an actual race, so it's incredibly loud and you can't hear us, and it's just miserable. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, and you know, we could do a lot. I feel like with a pod, could also always have
Right.
pod specials. I was thinking about that. You know, you see some pods do that. You know, where they'll go and they'll do something for like
So like one
a
episode will
one-off.
all be on edibles. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was thinking more like podcast related. You know, like I don't
So,
know.
okay, wait. You know what'd be sick? We
What?
do since we're F1 podcast, we do an in-person podcast where we were just in a car driving around for the entire
Oh.
episode.
Oh God.
Okay, and then what we name it is F1 podcasters in cars getting coffee. It's like Jerry
Yeah.
Seinfeld show.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's a bit of a mouthful for a title, but
F1 cast in cars getting coffee.
yeah. Or maybe we do. Wait, what's that other guy that does where he like has celebrities in his car and they like
Jay Leno?
No, the one.
Oh,
the
no,
one where
that's,
Karaoke. The karaoke.
Stephen Corden. Or
Yeah.
not, was it something Corden? I think James
Yeah.
Corden, car karaoke.
James- yeah.
Yeah, we throw a little bit of that, and just every car-related piece of media, we just copy it. And
We do
I
one
thought-
episode where we're just on motorcycles for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fight to not fall off while we're
Yeah.
podcasting. I was thinking another one could be a better idea I had, or like one of the better ones I thought is you just playing like a racing game during the pod. So you
Oh,
just
we like
have
go to
our-
like Scandia and like be on like one of those racing like little games.
we could do that, or I was thinking we just do it online. You know, you just get like a sim racer, and it's just like I mean I guarantee I'd be going off the road constantly.
Oh, so we'd be like in NASCAR doing 100 races
Oh, that
while
would be
or
s-
100
that would
laps while we're
actually be
potting.
sick. We're just going in circles. I think that'd be. I like that idea a lot, actually. That one's
Guys,
cool.
I'm getting a new mic and new audio interface, so it's good. You know?
Damn, I'm gonna need to get a steering wheel. We'll have to upgrade the
I want-
production
I want a
level.
steering wheel, too.
Uh,
I gotta start working on my racing skill for that first special. For the
Mhm.
wait, I gotta check. We gotta set like a subscriber goal.
what are we thinking by the end of maybe summer break? What are we thinking,
8
guys?
subs. Okay, by the end of summer break, we gotta set the bar low so we can jump over it, or pretty low. I'm thinking somewhere between 25 and 50 sub goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first hurdle.
I think that'll put
think.
us only at like
We need to
10 episodes, I'd
overpass.
say.
What is that?
Okay.
What is that other podcast? The one you said like
straight. Is it called Straight into the Chicane? The one.
yeah,
I
the one
sent?
that has 50 subs. We need to pass them.
Yeah, this is. I'll send the video that I skipped in 5 minutes into it. This is our competition that we first need to best.